Well, guys, what is that you see on the table in front of you? Well, that is the TS301 by SUN knives. I have already done a video about this knife, but now I own one. This was a gift from one of my paying members, Winston Cobretti, along with this shirt. He sent me a lot of stuff for Christmas, but I thought it would be fun for us to take a look at it and see if this knife still holds up to what I thought to begin with. So let's turn this around and take a look at it from above. Well, guys, like I said in the intro, this is a knife that I absolutely have done a review on, but it was sent to me as a gift, and I kind of want to see if what I said holds still valid. I did like this knife a lot. The one that Jared sent me was great. This one was a gift for Christmas. I'll do a video of all the stuff I got for Christmas. But yeah, this is a knife. This was one of the first SUN knives that I got in for review. It came from Jared, and I was pretty impressed with it, and I gotta tell you, I still am. So first things first, as we always do, we're gonna do a size comparison. So your first knife is the Hogue Ritter RSK Mark I, which is a knife that I picked because it is another knife that is fairly large and comfortable with a broad blade. But you can see the 301 is larger than the Hogue Ritter. Your next knife's gonna be the Kaiser Begleiter XL button lock, which is a 9-inch knife. So you can see this isn't a huge knife, but dimensionally it's fairly large. So let's get this out of the way and look at our final knife. As always, the Chris Reeve Sebenza. So tip to tip, tail to tail, pivot to pivot, they are almost the same length. But this is a big knife, and it's got a lot going for it. So let's get this out of the way, and we'll talk about all the things that I remember from my last review video and now how I feel about it about a year later, now that it's mine. So like I said, I have actually done a full review on this knife before, but because I own one now, I figured it would be nice to revisit it and see if things hold true. Now, I did not rewatch my previous video because I'm going to do that later. I want to see how many things hold true on this, but I will tell you that this was one of the first SUN knives that Jared sent me from over at Neves Knives, and I liked it a lot then. I was afraid I wasn't going to because of the way that it has this weird cant to it that feels like the blade is swept up. I've talked about it a lot of times. I like to be more in line with the cut on that, but in this knife, it works really, really well. So you have this beautiful, broad 14C28 end blade that's done really thick. It comes down relatively thin behind the edge. This one, I think, is a little thicker behind the edge than the one Jared sent me, but it still is just in that Goldilocks zone that I found cuts really, really well. It's done in that grinder satin, almost that burger grinder satin, as you can see. I love it because it gives you that oil on water, like that oil slick on water look that is very, very cool. It's got that weird pearlescent, opalescent look to it, and I love it. I always have loved that. It's one of my favorite finishes. And then you can see this has been stonewashed here to give you that contrast where you have the stonewashed flats, stonewashed spine, swedge is ground, blade is ground. It looks really, really good. Great big sharpening choil on this to prevent you from slamming into things, into your stones and things like that. The scales on this are done beautifully. I don't feel any of those marriage points at all. Even though you can see the line between the carbon fiber and the micarta, you can't feel it. And then the liners on this are super, super thick. Almost like a frame lock with just overlays is what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a liner lock. SUN always does a good job with their hardware. I know Jared doesn't like the one with the print around it, but I like it because it looks very, very firearms rifle round-esque. But these pivots like this are attractive as well. I do like the fact that they just did a cutout here. So if you needed to tighten up your lock bar insert, you just go at it through the scales without having to take them all the way off, which is really cool. Now, they haven't done a lot of weight reduction in here, but it is done in a fashion where it's not super heavy for as large as this knife is. So I have never taken one of these apart. I'm curious to see if there's a cutout in the titanium that the scale drops into instead of it just being surface mounted that may account for a little bit of weight reduction. Action on it is thumb stud activator only, but your thumb studs are also your stop pin. So I hate to tell you, if you don't like the thumb studs, you're kind of stuck with them. But the thumb studs are great on this. This is another knife that has got all but perfect jimping. They did not soften these at all. You can see how it just grabs the skin on my finger and just holds on to it. One of my big problems with jimping is a lot of companies put it on there and then they soften it to a point where like, oh, well, that's going to be hot. But the whole point of jimping is to prevent you from going anywhere. So if you're going to do jimping, I don't care what fashion of jimping, at least make sure it is functional. And then last thing, the pocket clip on it is really, really good in and out of pocket. It's just about the right amount of tension. The backspacer, we'll talk about that in a minute. The pocket clip tension is just about perfect in any type of pants so far, and it's not at all a hot spot. As a matter of fact, this knife really does not have any hot spots, and a lot of that comes from the fact it's thumb studs only, so you don't have that big pocket pecker that you have to deal with. The pocket pecker, as Nick Shabazz likes to say. And in fact, it's a liner lock. You don't have any discomfort where your lock bar kicks, so you're right over there. When your lock bar kicks over, you're still right on that area, and it is great in hand. Super, super smooth feel in hand. So, that's what I've got to say about good things. So, like I always say, there are some bad things. I'm not 100% sure if they're the same things that I called out in my final review video the last time, but we're going to talk about them. So let's flip this around and look at the negatives. There are only 3 little things I've found on the negatives. First and foremost, it doesn't bother me because I have tough hands, lots of calluses. The thumb studs on this are very sharp. So if you have soft hands and you're not used to dealing with sharp thumb studs, the milling on this does leave you some sharp edges. They may be uncomfortable. And as I said, they are also your stop pins. So you are going to basically be stuck with those thumb studs unless you can find thumb studs of the exact diameter. Well, you can measure them and you can try and find them and then screw these off. But I would say it would make more sense to leave well enough alone. The other thing that I find problematic, and I can't remember if it was if they did it the same way on the other one that I had, there's not a lot of access to that lock bar, to that liner. So you can get in on it. It's just a little tight. It doesn't really bother me so much on this one because they did take some material out so I can get in a little bit farther. But I just kind of wish that this side was a little lower. It would have detracted from the look. I do have to admit, it's got a very clean look. And then the final thing, you guys know how I feel about pocket clips. This pocket clip, I had to tighten this way down. Oh, it still does. It slides back and forth. Now, it was way worse when I first got it. I've tightened it as much as I can get it, but it's because that's not pocketed out. That is just a single point where it has been just screwed on there, surface. There is no cutout for that. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, I called that out the first time. Now, once you tighten it down really well, it's not that horrible until it loosens up. I will be tightening this down and putting some Loctite on it. But the fact there is no cutout for that allows that. That means I could spin this all the way around if it got loose. So just a couple little things to mention. But as far as comfort and carry, and just being overall a unique aesthetic looking knife, this has it in spades. So yeah, I am going to review the video that I did the first time and see if these are the same items. I'm just curious. I'm curious if my tastes have changed. I'm curious if maybe there's been some changes to the knife. But all in all, this was one of my favorite TUSUN knives. Still is. Big shout out to Winston Cobretti for sending it to me with the big package of Christmas stuff that he sent me, including a bunch of shirts that you guys are going to see, goofy shirts he sent. So at any rate, guys, that's it on this one. Let's turn it around. We'll do some final thoughts and send you out about your day. So there you go, guys. I still do like this knife a lot. I'm curious to go back and watch the full review video I did about this knife to see if it still holds up the way I think it does, because it's a very, very good knife, and I'm really happy to now own one. Some of these TUSUNs are hard to get, and some of the ones I really like just aren't out there anymore. So big shout out, big thanks to Winston Cobretti on this really good gift. I got 3 knives for Christmas. It was a pretty good Christmas. This is one of the best Christmases I've had in a while. other than the fact that I was alone. Anyway, guys, I hope you like the content. I hope you enjoy this. We'll definitely touch base on this probably in a live feed and see if the things that I think about it now are the same as the things I thought in the video, or we'll revisit it again. Who knows? It's a lot of fun to do stuff like that. So guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why I can't change the content. If you don't, tell me what you don't like. We're going to do the spiel. The best thing you can do for any channel is to like the videos. If you've watched a video for 30 seconds and you have not liked it, you are doing a disservice to the channels you love. So that being said, if you want to support the channel, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you got it set for all so that you won't get all, but YouTube will send out 3 notifications. That's all they send. Other ways you can support the channel if you want to. I have a bunch of financial ways. There's a ton of affiliate links down below in the description. Anything you purchase on those Amazon ones, it doesn't matter if it's the item you clicked on or not. As a matter of fact, I would prefer that you just, any shopping you did, that you picked one of those links, just click it and then do your shopping. From paint to prunes, does not matter. There are a couple of my affiliate links that have discounts. Coffee Brand Coffee, 5% off on your overall order. Holy crap, that was hard. And Atlas VPN is 85% off through New Year's on a 2-year subscription. It comes out to $44. So I do have a merchandise store over on Ember Shirt Co. where you can pick up my merchandise or other creators' merchandise at a 10% discount with my coupon code CrazySharp, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp. And a final way is I have a membership down below. It's all tier based. Baseline and premium tier members have access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. I'm sorry, everyone has access to my Gilded server. Baseline and premium tier members have access, or are automatically entered into a giveaway that I do on the Gilded server. And the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series. There we go. I'm having a hard time today. They've been doing a lot of work and I'm trying to cram stuff in between jackhammer sessions while they're tearing up the patio in the neighbor's yard. So guys, that's it. I love you all. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.